Hello, good morning my dear students, class 7. Today in the history chapter we are going to discuss about the chapter the Delhi Sultanate. Okay. So last chapter, in chapter number 2, we have seen or we have discussed about the large kingdom. Yes. So we have learnt about Muhammad Ghori also. So what we have learned that Muhammad Ghori was the ruler of Ghor kingdom. He wanted to expand his territory to North India. So in his reign, okay, the North India, he came to India, he invaded to India and fought a battle with Prithviraj Chauhan in 1191, and at that time we have seen that Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Ghori in the first battle of Tarai that we have seen. What happened the very next year? In 1192. Okay, so in that, when the second battle of Tarai happened, Ghori attained the victory over Prithviraj Chauhan, and in this way Prithviraj Chauhan had been defeated by Muhammad Ghori. So that much we have seen in the last chapter. Now let us continue and we'll see that how the sultans came into existence and how there was an establishment of Delhi Sultanate. That everything we are going to discuss in this chapter. Okay. So chapter number 3, the Delhi Sultanate. So after the defeat, the battle of Tarai, Prithviraj and his successor ruled in Delhi as well as in the Ajmer. So in the some time of period. Okay. So there were the rebellions against the Chauhanas for accepting the authorities. Now we are going to discuss about the Turkish rulers. Yes. So one by one we will see. See my dear students, Muhammad Ghori trusted the slave Qutbuddin Aibak. So Qutbuddin Aibak was sent to occupy Delhi when in 1192. So Qutbuddin Aibak, what he done? He consolidated their positions in Delhi, which now became the base for the Turkish ruler in India. Now see, this victory, which victory I am talking about? I am talking about victory, the battle of Tarai. Okay, so that victory led to the foundation of Delhi Sultanate, which ruled to the country from 1206 to 1500. Okay, from 12th century to 15th century. This period saw the rules of 5 powerful dynasties. They were, what were the 5 dynasties? The first was the slave dynasty, okay, Turkish rulers. So that was a slave dynasty which we can see during 1206 to 1219, and after that we are going to see the Khalji dynasty. So Khalji dynasty was during 1292 to 1320, and then we are going to see the Tughlaqs. Tughlaqs from 1320 to 1314, and then Sayyid. Sayyid dynasty we are going to see during 1414 to 1451, and last Lodhi dynasty, that we are going to see the period of 1451 to 1526. So this period covered the way for the new cultural combination, which we could see the combination of Hindu and Muslim culture. So that culture was the emergence of the two cultures. So we can see the combination of language, costume, food. Yes, the period from 1206 to 1526 is referred to as the Delhi Sultanate period, as these rulers governed from Delhi. So many of Delhi sultans, they make their own capital cities such as Siri, Tughlaqabad. So the center was always in and around Delhi. So most of the ruler from Delhi Sultanate, they were from Turkish origin and they came from Central Asia, as we know it before only. So the sources of information says that, see, to know about the Sultanate period, archaeologist sources, what were that? It was the coins, inscriptions and monuments, as well as the literary materials. So what was the literary materials? Like the writings of foreign travelers. Okay, so historians also were available. So most of the historians wrote in Persian language. The official language of Sultanate was Persian. So the history as they wrote, as they called Tariq. Okay, and in the plural we say Tawarik. Okay, Tariq was for singular and Tawarik. Okay. So they wrote this account in the manner which they portrayed the patterns in the flattering light. So in this way we can say that the history which they wrote, which may not be very accurate. So some of the important histories written in this period, so that which we can see the Tabaqat in Nasiri by Minhaj-e-Siraj. Yes. Then Tariq-e-Firukh Shahi by Ziauddin Barani, and Ibn Battuta also has written in his Rila. So that gives the information about this period. So see, my dear students, if we say if we see the dynasties, these 5 dynasties that we are going to discuss, first we are going to discuss the slave dynasty. First we will see about Qutbuddin Aibak. Okay, so all that the rulers of slave dynasty, the Turkish rulers, we are going to see one by one. Okay, so Qutbuddin Aibak. Okay, who was Qutbuddin Aibak? Qutbuddin Aibak was he was Muhammad Ghuri's slave. Okay, and the important ruler of the dynasty slave. Okay, so before they became the sultan, so the founder of the slave dynasty was who? Qutbuddin Aibak. So he had been Muhammad Ghuri's slave. So Muhammad Ghuri died in 1206 without specifying that who would be his successor. So this led to the clashes between his 3 leading slaves. Okay, Qutbuddin Aibak, who gave the control over the most of the Ghuri territory, and he became the ruler of the Delhi territory. Okay, you have learned about Qutub Minar. Yes, then he built Qutub Minar, and the mosque started during the Aibak's right. So Qutbuddin Aibak died accidentally in 1210. So Iltutmish may be considered a real founder of Delhi Sultanate. He was Qutbuddin Aibak's slave, and as well as he was a son-in-law of Qutbuddin Aibak. Okay, are you getting me? Iltutmish. Okay, so he was able to defend his empire from Mongol attacks. He also set up an administration system and conducted various welfare activities. He ruled for around 25 years. Okay, so who? Iltutmish. Iltutmish ruled around 25 years from 1211 to 1236. Okay, then after we will see about Razia. So what is written about Razia in the history, that we will see. Iltutmish had many sons, but he did not consider any one of them for his successor. For his daughter Razia, the Sultan of Delhi, she popularly known as Razia Sultan. Yes, so this decision of Iltutmish was not liked by the conservative nobles those who were working in his court. So what happened, those who had, means the noble who had become very powerful after the death of Iltutmish, what happened, they placed Firoz Shah, one of the son of Iltutmish, on the throne. Then and what happened, that Firoz Shah did not, Iltutmish's son Firoz Shah did not have the qualities of a king. He was extremely careless and fun-loving. They did not pay attention to the Sultanate and neglected to the administration. People demanded as a capable and caring administration. So Razia was like that. And what about Razia Sultan? Minaj-e-Siraj was had written down. Razia was a great monarch. She was wise, she was generous, and she insists for justice. The leader of the armies, as well as she was a protector of her subject. So Razia was a dynamic ruler. As she was a dynamic ruler, she was a progressive thinker also. So she threw his female attire and put on the coat and cap. She rode the elephants like male, hunted and led the army. She was successful in establishment of law in her kingdom. Razia's reign was very short and full of problems. The nobles hated her. They wanted powers in their hand. The nobles could not tolerate a women's rule. Okay, so therefore they conspired against Razia and killed her in a battle. She died. Razia died like a brave warrior. If we see her reign about, Razia's period was 1236 to 1240. Her reign was about 4 years. So after that, many kings came to throne. Then Nasiruddin Muhammad, the another son of Iltutmish, they ruled from 1246 till 46. So what happened to the nobles? Okay, so the administration was being run by the nobles. Nasiruddin was actually behaving like a puppet. Okay, so Balban, okay, we're talking about Balban. The Balban controlled the administration, and 1266, if we see, Ghiyasuddin Balban rise was 1260 to 1287. So during this period, Balban came into power. He was able and most powerful ruler of this Turkish ruler, which we say the slave dynasty. So as Balban was Iltutmish Turkish slave, he exerted a lot of control over Nasiruddin and eventually took over the throne in 1266. And Balban came into power and immediately got as many nobles as possible. He brutally crushed the rebellions in his regions like the Mewat and Doab. Okay, so Doab, which we are going to discuss in afterwards. So after Balban's death, the dynasty of slave which did not extended more. Now we are going to see about the Khalji dynasty. Okay, so Khalji dynasty. Okay, Jalaluddin Firoz Khalji. Jalaluddin Firoz Khalji. If we see, his reign was 1292 to 1296, for 6 years. He was the founder of the Khalji dynasty. He had served the Balban for several years. So during his reign, he dealt with Mongolian invaders and he fought with the power of Chauhans. Yes, so his reign signifies the end of the control of Turkish slaves aristocracy. Aristocracy means the people who are from highest classes, highest society, who usually have money, land, power, and have more often the special titles. Okay. Jalaluddin Khalji was killed by his nephew. Yes, Alauddin Khilji. And then Alauddin Khilji came into power. Who? Alauddin Khilji. Okay. Now Alauddin Khilji came into reign, and if we see his period, it is about 1296 to 1316. Okay. So Alauddin Khilji, he was the most famous of the Khalji ruler. So he established a vast empire in India, the city of Siri. If you see in the map number 1, which has been given in your textbook. Yes, so he established the empire Siri. Okay, the city Siri. The Siri was built by him. He also started building the minars. Okay, Aladdin captured Ranthambore, yes, in the Rajasthan. He sent his favorite slaves and commander Malik Kafur. Okay, so Malik Kafur, where he had sent Malik Kafur? To the south, where he defeated the Yadavas, Kakatiyas, the Hoysalas and Pandyas. So Malik Kafur carried away a lot of wealth from the southern kingdom. He defeated the kings. Whoever he defeated the kings had to accept Alauddin Khilji's acceptance. Okay, and then they had to give a tribute to him. So these kingdoms constantly rebelled against the Sultanate. So Alauddin paid his soldier in cash. He organized a permanent standing army, which standing no sultan has done yet. So he introduced new major, one of that, the branding of horses. It makes the justice, the circle of justice. Okay, so if the peasant are happy from the ruler, and then they could give the more tax to the king. And in this way, the ruler, the king, used to pay more attention, more expense on the army. Okay, so this was about the circle of the justice. So Aladdin died in 1316. So in this way, Alauddin Khalji, his reign was ended up in 1316. So it was about Khalji dynasty. Now we are going to see about the Tughlaq dynasty. So Tughlaq dynasty, after Alauddin Khilji's death, Mubarak Shah Khilji came to throne and he was murdered by Khusro Khan, and Khusro Khan was killed by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Okay, and Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, who was the founder of the Tughlaq dynasty. Now we will discuss about Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Now see, if we see his see the reign 1320 to 1325, 5 years. So Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, he was from Karana tribe, and he was Alauddin's Mukta. Mukta means the officer who collect the tax from the land, and he was Alauddin's Mukta in where in Dipalpur. Okay, for many years. And when he came to power, he had to deal with the rebellions in the different parts of the country, on the fixed problems in the administration. So further he strengthened and extended his empire. Yes, and Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, he died in 1325. Okay, 1325. And he was succeeded by Muhammad Tughlaq. Okay, Muhammad Tughlaq. Okay, till 1351 his reign. Okay, if we see Firoz Shah Tughlaq reign, that was from 1351 to 1388. So just we will have a look on Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Okay, Muhammad bin Tughlaq was succeeded by his cousin Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So Firoz Shah wanted to support of the ulemas and rule according to the Islamic laws. He collected jizya tax. Okay, jizya was a tax which all the non-Muslims had to pay. Okay, from the Brahmins as well. His reign was in Gujarat, Sindh and Bengal. He led a few campaigns to Bengal, Orissa, now Odisha and Nagarkot, which did not result in any addition to his territories of the Sultanate. He was not able to balance the great territorial losses that had occurred during his predecessor's reign. But his reign was mostly the prosperous and the goods were cheap. Yes, so Firoz Shah Tughlaq is also known for his interest in public welfare. Okay, he built canals, wells, tanks, hospitals, rest houses and educational institutions. He founded new towns and repaired old monuments. Yes, so many work he had done. During his reign, many Sanskrit texts were translated into Persian language and he died in 1388. Who? Firoz Shah Tughlaq. And in this way, the Tughlaq dynasty came to end. Now we are going to see about the Sayyid dynasty. Okay, so Sayyid dynasty came into existence, that we will see how it came. See, my dear students, Taimur was the ruler of Samarkand. Samarkand, a region in the Central Asia. In 1398, Taimur invaded India and attacked on Delhi. He took a large amount of wealth and prisoners to Samarkand. He took the wealth and prisoners to Samarkand. Okay, the attack by Taimur, which completely ruined the Tughlaq dynasty. So, though they will continue rule for some time more, they never managed to recover their power. Tughlaq. So, Taimur left behind Khizr Khan. And Khizr Khan, his deputy in India. Okay, Khizr Khan was Taimur's deputy. For 1300 to 14, Khizr Khan conquered Delhi. He started the Sayyid dynasty. The fourth dynasty of Delhi Sultanate was in power from 1414 to 1451. Okay. So, after that 51, Balban Lodi came. Okay, that we are going to discuss. Okay, so how the Sultanate, if we see about Sayyid dynasty, the Sultanate became weaker during this period. Khizr Khan and his successors spent their time trying to control rebellions in the different parts of the kingdom. And Khizr Khan was succeeded by 3 rulers. Okay, after 1421, so they were Mubarak Sayyid, Mahmud Shah Sayyid and Alam Shah Sayyid. So in 1451, the Afghan chief Bahlol Lodi, okay, see, the Afghan chief Bahlol Lodi defeated Aladdin, okay, who was the last successor of Khizr Khan. He defeated Alam Shah, who was the last ruler of Sayyid dynasty, and founded the Lodi dynasty. And we will see this way the Lodi dynasty. The Lodis were the 5th and last dynasty of Delhi Sultanate. They were the only Afghan dynasty of this period and consisted of 3 rulers: Bahlol Lodi, Sikandar Lodi and Ibrahim Lodi. Okay, so in 1489, Bahlol Lodi was succeeded by his son Sikandar Lodi. Ibrahim Lodi was Sikandar Lodi's son. So he succeeded him in 1570. So So they issued coins and standards of measurements which were used till Mughal times. Okay. In 1526, the first battle of Panipat was fought between Ibrahim Lodi and Babur. Okay, Babur was the descendant of Taimur. Okay, and the ruler of Fargana. Okay, Fargana in the Central Asia. So in this battle, Babur emerged victorious and Ibrahim Lodi was killed. So with Ibrahim Lodi's defeat, the rule of not just Lodis, but it was the end. It was the end of the Delhi Sultanate when Babur established the Mughal dynasty in India. And the Mughal dynasty we are going to see in the next chapter. So this was about the major dynasty which we have discussed already. The 5 dynasties: slave dynasty, Khalji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, Sayyid dynasty and Lodhi dynasty. And at last when Babur came to India, he established the Mughal empire which we are going to see in the next chapter. So the other part of this chapter, which is which we are going to see which we are going to see from garrison town to empire, the expansion of the Delhi Sultanate. In the next session we are going to see. Till that, bye. See you.